This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome to Wall Street Raw. It is Saturday, February 24th, and no other day like it. We're very appreciative that you tuned in on a Saturday morning. We know you have other choices, but our loyal followers are there, and we have some very special guests for you, as we always do on our show. Henry Weingarten will be with us in just a moment. Don Vialo is going to join us during the program. We're bringing back Jeffrey Friedland and his comments regarding GW Pharmaceutical and that bad news that hit the stock this past week. As you know, I do track with my Cannabis Vice letter the very active cannabinoid stocks out there, particularly the Canadian ones. So we want some input from Jeffrey, and of course Sinclair No will also be joining us later in the program. It's been a really wild couple of weeks here in the market. As you know, we're in this cyclical period, which says we could still continue to see some choppiness, but my bottom line feeling is that the trend is still your friend. So unless we start taking out some significant levels, and we're not big buyers yet, we're still on a little bit of a sell signal. There should be more upside here coming this year. But the caveat is we got to watch the tape and see if certain levels do hold. Gold has been trying to rally and hasn't really been able to follow through. The bond market is showing a little life here the last couple of days. The dollar is showing a little exuberance, and Bitcoin had a big sell-off, but it's come back quite a bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with our next and regular, very special guest, Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund, who's on the line with us right now. If you want more information from Henry, by the way, you should go to afund.com. Good morning, Henry. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Well, actually, I think things are slightly boring. February, we see is 25,000 Dow plus or minus 1,200 points. We do have, it's not the end of the world yet, but we certainly do have another correction coming in March or April, but the question is to what level and at what time. Basically, the economy is roaring along, and the big question is the Fed going to do 4 rate hikes or 3? Our view is 3, which would be nice. I mean, I'd certainly like them to be able to do 3, but I don't see 4 happening. And that is sort of a plus for the marketplace. You have record consumer confidence, and I think that's very important. And by and large, the labor market, et cetera, in the United States is doing very well. So the big problem for the U.S. in this year has primarily been the raising of interest rates, and that's what's knocked out most bull markets. But as we've said for quite a while, we don't think that really is going to happen until 2019, not so much this year.
But Henry, historically, we have higher rates moving with a higher market. Generally, the statistics prove out that slow increase of rates is not bearish for the stock market, though the
I don't think slow isn't, but we have to get to like the 320 level. We had said we're going to go to 270 to 3. We're about 289 and even 3. But once you hit 320, it starts putting competition to the market. So the next 2 increases I don't think mean anything. The one in March and the one coming later. Once we get to 7 or 6 is when the market's going to start being concerned in a serious way, because it really doesn't impact what's going on. No, a slow thing is not bad. But the question is whether they're behind the curve, and that's why some people are worried about the 4th. But we don't see that happening this year. although we do see a total of 7. So, but we do see the dollar getting stronger, which I think, I don't know why people are anti-dollar. And clearly this is a good place to do business, and more people want to do business here. And the environment is positive for that. So I think that's, by and large, there are obviously some risks in the marketplace. There's obviously overvaluation, but over time the market gets better. So one has to be cautious, but I think either long or, as we are, just hedged and don't worry about it. As long as it stays around here, it gets back up to 26,000, we'll go short again, or write calls or do that sort of thing.
So at what point does it break out for you? Is it we have to see new highs?
Up or down? Which way?
Okay, so we break out to new highs, then we're off and running, or is it a bull trap at that point?
If it is, I'll be a bear. Because, fundamentally, the issue is there's two problems. One is the fact that stocks are expensive, but on the other hand, if you look at what the amount of money that's been created, you can make a case for a $30,000 Dow. It's like, there's so much money floating around, where's it going to go? And the stock market's obviously one of the places. You can make that case. The problem is, if you're up there, it's sort of dangerous. So you have to, it's a question of how do you handle risk? It's like the people with Bitcoin, it was 15,000, 20,000, they didn't care about it. Now, of course, it's a different story. So it's really a question of how you want to handle risk. It can stay up.
Let's talk about Bitcoin that we were talking about.
Bitcoin, as we said, would go down to test close to 5,000, which it did. Then we said it would go up in February, which it did. It does have another up time in April, but once we hit the summer, it's a dead duck, or at least it's going to get another nail in the coffin. Right now, you have 10,800, which is a pivot. And we only got to 12,000 resistance. We didn't get to 14. So if in the next 2 cycles we don't get to 12, we have a target of 4,500 in the beginning of June. Beginning of July, by the beginning of July. The only thing is that there is an uptime in April. And there are a couple of negative things that's going to happen. One, of course, is this tremendous amount of fraud and manipulation that's going to be exposed. And also, Bitcoin itself is a very poor product. It's first generation. There was an article in, I can't remember what it is. But the point is we have second and third generation coins that are much better. So if you want to play cryptocurrency, you're going to make more money and you're going to have far less risk by taking first generation. Or rather, not taking first generation. For example, who uses a Netscape browser today? Nobody. Probably most of the kids don't even know what it is.
Right.
But that's what Bitcoin is. It's just...
All right, that's a good point. We're not condemning Bitcoin. Cryptocurrencies. We're just condemning Bitcoin.
We're not condemning. Well, we are against cryptocurrencies because governments are not going to allow tax evasion. We aren't condemning blockchain. We're not condemning smart contracts, which obviously have a future. But whether the governments are going to, which went through the whole war on terror and closed up all the offshore tax havens, by and large, is not going to allow tax evasion and allow money laundering. That's sort of like, look at what China's doing, and it's not only illegal, but at some point you're going to start jailing people for using it. They're going to come down hard, and you're going to see that by the summer.
Yeah, a lot of companies are creating their own coins. For example, Overstock creating its own coin. That's a big
exactly. Now, the fourth generation coins are going to be either government cryptocurrencies, or it's going to be like Walmart, Apple, Google, whatever. If you want to call that that sort of thing, there'll be a future for, of course. But then you at least have some value to it, and you also have a situation where it won't be stolen totally. So many people think they have money that they don't have.
Henry, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
okay.
This is my comment.
Okay.
There's so much stuff going on that they don't even realize it, but they will realize it at a given point.
Real quickly, we only have a few seconds left here. We mentioned that the dollar will be strong. So what's your position on gold here?
We like gold, and like everyone else, we have a target of 1,400 this year and next year. So it's a slow thing. It's not going to be, it's not going to be jumping to 1,500 or anything like that. It's going to get to be more valuable as time goes on, and you have to be very specific with what companies you invest in. Because some will do well,
Henry,
but not all of them.
We just ran out of time. Henry Garten from afund.com. Talk to you next week.
You
got it. All the best.
Mark
Thank you.
Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Every industry faces distinguishing challenges and circumstances that shape the business and financial landscape. Camuso CPA LLC delivers unrivaled depth of knowledge and an engaging experience relevant to each client's industry-specific needs. Camuso offers preemptive guidance and knowledge required to achieve your greatest business and personal financial potential. Our approach is based on forging long-term business relationships accompanied by trust and value, creating an ever-important partnership. Build your dedicated financial team with us today. Visit CamusoCPA.com. That's CamusoCPA.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply. Or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. Earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
1 out of 4 people listening to my voice right now could die from heart disease. This could be your last year, and you don't even know it because you don't know the early warning signs. If you think you're safe because your cholesterol levels are normal, think again, because studies show that 75% of heart attack patients also had normal cholesterol levels. Let me introduce you to Strauss Heart Drops, a world-famous heart and brain formula made in Canada. It's time-tested and will give you clinical results in 90 days or your money back. Learn more at scienceofheartdisease.com. They are shipping free this month.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on the Saturday, the 24th of February. We have an exciting show for you, and we still have a lot of guests lined up for the balance of the program, so don't touch your dial. Sinclair No is going to be joining us shortly, and our good friend Jeffrey Friedland is going to be joining us. We're going to talk a little bit more about the cannabis industry and that GW Pharmaceutical announcement that came out and surprised the street a little bit this week, and also some coverage of Canadian mining shares and, cannabis shares, mining shares we're going to talk about with our good friend Don Vialloux, who is now on the line with us. Don Vialloux is the past president of the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts. We've had him on the show for many months. A good friend. He's a chartered market technician, and he was also an advisor to the Horizon Seasonal Rotation ETF, and he's the creator of two great blogs. One is timingthemarket.ca and equityclock.com. Don, thank you again for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Thanks for having me back, Mark.
Well, we talked off air about it. I did a little research when we were in the break about Apple could be buying cobalt from mining companies directly. So according to some articles I'm reading here, cobalt is a new oil. And this is something that really surprised the street a little bit. So we have to start searching for some companies in the space. So we'll talk more about that when we both do our homework a little bit further. But this is a commodity that's not quite widely followed, so it should be really interesting and see what's going on here.
It's been interesting because it's not just cobalt where the demand is increasing. Things like lithium, prices of lithium have gone through the roof during the last few months. And even some of the more other commodities like silver. There's a huge amount of silver and lithium as well as cobalt, which are used in smartphones. And the demand for smartphones continues to rise.
Well, amazing, right? So this is the rare earths or the rare minerals that we don't talk about every day that are so important to the electronic industry and to the future of those products. But meanwhile, commodity prices have been moving higher, and let's talk a little bit about your seasonality here. We're in that time frame, right?
Yeah, it is the season for commodity prices to move higher right through until the end of April. Now, after the recent stock market correction, the CRB index has extended its intermediate uptrend and has resumed outperformance relative to the S&P 500. Most notable during the past 2 weeks was strength in crude oil prices and base metal prices.
So equities producing these commodities have also moved along with them nicely. I know Freeport-McMoRan, one of the ones I've tracked, had a nice little pop here as well.
Yes, a lot of the base metal stocks have done very, very well. There's a number of ways of playing that in the States. PIC is one of the ways of playing the base metal sector. Another one in the copper area is COPX, which is basically a basket of copper producers.
Wow, okay. And there's also the Canadian iShares for energy, too, you talk about in your commentary, XEG.
Yeah, it's been fascinating because this week has been particularly strong for the energy sector. We're starting to see some really good technical action in crude oil, and the period of seasonal strength, both in Canada and the United States, for the energy sector is from middle of February to the end of April. Now, the easiest way for U.S. investors to play the sector is just to own the energy spiders. That's XLE. Or if you want to go slightly lower from a quality point of view, the Oil and Gas Exploration and Production ETF, the symbol is XOP. Now, for Canadian investors, they can own iShares, the energy ETF. The symbol there is XEG.
The oil services industry has also been moving along correct, right?
Well, if you want to play energy with steroids, play it in the oil service sector, because typically the oil service sector does outperform the oil and gas producer stocks and their related ETFs. The most well-known ETF in the oil service sector in the United States, its symbol is OIH.
Any gut feelings about where crude oil is headed? I'm looking at the charts, and there's some real big numbers way up there in the 80s that we could ultimately see. Do you think we're really headed toward those levels in the near term, Don?
The next key level is around the 66 level. If it breaks that, then yes, you have another technical target which can put you up to around the 75 level. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen probably within the next, 3 months. It's kind of an interesting time because this is a time when a lot of the oil refiners in the States go through their maintenance period. And so you get some strange things happening, which tends to limit the availability of certain commodities like gasoline. not surprising, gasoline prices have been moving to new highs just during the last couple of weeks. And gasoline is another one of these commodities which historically does very well right through until May of each year. So this commodity sector in general, and particularly in the energy sector, looks very good for traders for a seasonal trade right through until May.
Wow. We're going to go a little bit on left field here. I know it's not your specialty per se, but since it is a Canadian story, the legalization of cannabis, the recreational legalization, is supposed to be coming in July. In the last few days, we start hearing that Ottawa had some type of, problems with that date, and there might be a delay of a month or two, which might affect many of the Canadian cannabis stocks. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, what's happening up here is the federal government wants to proceed and get this thing going, but each of the provinces has control over how the cannabis is distributed, and each one has their own plan. Some of the provinces are well ahead of their plan to launch cannabis. Many of them are ready to go probably in August, but there are other provinces which may delay even farther. It's a logistics problem as opposed to a legal problem. It's going to happen. It's a question of when. Could be delayed a few months.
And it might put a little dent in some of these shares, too. Some start to have a little bit of a correction when the story came out. So there might be a little bit of a better buying opportunity if this continues.
Ultimately, it will be because it's just a timing issue. It's not a question of demand for the product. The whole sector still looks very good on a longer-term technical basis.
Great. And, real quickly, we sort of touched a little bit on it, not directly. We talked about the U.S. dollar and the Canadian dollar in past interviews. So let's talk a little bit quickly about the Canadian dollar and U.S. dollar and gold. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, the Canadian dollar earlier last week got whacked pretty badly when the retail sales for December came out. They were much lower than expected, and that caused some concerns. And then on Friday, the CPI index for January came out, and it was much stronger than expected, implying that the Canadian authority may have to raise interest rates sooner than later. So it's a mixed picture here. A lot of it has to do with how NAFTA negotiations happen during the next few months. That's causing some concerns about the Canadian dollar, and generally the Canadian dollar has been under pressure during the last 2 months.
Well, Don, thank you very much for joining us. Don VIALOUX from EquityClock.com. We'll talk to you again next week. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Mark.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
With uncertain times in the United States, it's only prudent to consider storing precious metals in a safe place outside of our borders. At Miles Franklin Limited, we have done just that for you. Partnered with the most respected storage company in the industry, Miles Franklin Limited is proud to offer the only fully insured private safe deposit box system in North America, held in Vancouver and Toronto. Send us your previously purchased precious metals, or have one of our brokers help you purchase something new. Questions? Please call one of our experienced brokers at 866-485-4346. Solid foundational storage partnered with the most respected name in security. That's Miles Franklin Limited. Celebrating our 29th year in business without ever receiving a customer complaint. call us at 866-485-4346. Again, that's 866-485-4346. Miles Franklin Limited, a name you can trust.
Does the current world crisis in North Korea or our domestic crisis right here in America concern you? Well, I know it concerns me. My friends over at Legacy Food Storage have solutions in the event there's the inevitable. What's the inevitable? Civil unrest, a run on your local grocery store. And here's my question to you. If this happens, how do you feed your children? How do you feed your grandchildren? Legacy Food Storage has the solutions. In fact, they can help you implement a simple plan to take care of your needs in the event of the inevitable. By calling them right now, I have authorized them to give you a special 20% discount at checkout by simply using GCN. Call 888-543-7345 or visit them at legacyfoodstorage.com. That's 888-543-7345 or visiting them at legacyfoodstorage.com. Make sure you use GCN at checkout for an incredible 20% discount. Don't be a victim. Take control of your life now.
Message and data rates may apply.
You don't follow the herd. You blaze your own trail. And you're as adventurous in the kitchen as you are in life. Whether it's paddleboard yoga or Peruvian steak, you're the first to try new things. So are we. We're Green Chef, the first USDA-certified organic meal kit delivery service. We offer delicious meal plans for 7 different lifestyles: paleo, gluten-free, keto, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, and omnivore. Want to be the first of your friends to try Green Chef? Discover our exclusive introductory deal by texting the keyword FUN66 to 543543. We believe that cooking, just like life, should be all about experience and flavor. And by exploring dinner options with Green Chef, you'll try new recipes, techniques, and ingredients for bold, new restaurant-level flavors. It's like enjoying a new cooking class, but in your own home. To experience this culinary adventure, text now and discover our exclusive introductory deal. Text FUN66 to 543543. That's FUN66 to 543543.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, the 24th of February. Very interesting week here. A lot of news out there. The Federal Open Market Committee signaled this week in its post-meeting statement that they did expect some future gradual increases in interest rates. And we talked about a little bit this earlier with Henry and with Don. And, a lot of concern that the higher rates, depending on the acceleration and what level they reach, could impact the stock market. History does suggest, however, that a slow increase and a higher stock market can go hand in hand. So the initial knee-jerk response to the market selling off because of higher rates is not necessarily correct if you look back at historical data. But as Henry pointed out earlier in the show, if you go over 3% or much over that, then there is competition for stocks, and perhaps there could be an impact. Or if there is more aggressive rate hiking, as Alan Greenspan did a few years ago, where they had, I believe, like 16 consecutive rate hikes at the worst possible time. So, that's the kind of thing we have to keep an eye on. But a lot of talk, of course, about what happened here in this mini or maybe major flash crash that we experienced here in early February has attracted some attention of the U.S. regulators. So the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, has now said it's starting a broad review of exchange-traded products. So they're scrutinizing the implosion of investments that track stock market turmoil, including whether wrongdoing contributed to the steep losses. But the VIX exchange traded products, you probably heard the story that a lot of hedge funds were involved in the VIX, which is a volatility index, and so many automated programs out there, computer-generated related programs, and when the VIX broke a certain resistance level and started taking off, indicating more volatility in the market, more potential selling, that triggered selling in the S&P futures and other futures, and suddenly it wasn't necessarily a fat finger hitting the wrong button at a certain time, as we saw back supposedly in May 2010 when we had that 1,000-point intraday correction. This apparently was triggered by the computers who were legitimately following these pre-programmed benchmarks with regard to the VIX and the other major indexes. So, they're looking at it, lawyers at the SEC Enforcement Division, on and on and on. But, as long as you've got computer-generated trading, there's no emotion on the part of the computers. They're not like us, should we sell now or not sell now, or maybe it's a buy or not a buy. I'm saying basically hits a level and boom, triggers, and next trigger hits off and others start triggering off. So increased volatility is going to be part of the game, even to the upside. But it always seems that selling comes a lot faster than buying. You don't see 1,800 points to the upside, or 1,600 points to the upside in 60 minutes, as we saw to the downside here in early February. So it always seems the panics are greater than the upside moves, and we know that from years and years in the market. So I'm sure you've seen it as well. So they struggle to move higher, and then they slip on a banana peel, and they go off the cliff. And next thing you know, getting a big correction like that. So basically, this is what we have to live with. And for those who were tracking the market, they knew that the VIX index had been trading at historically low levels, like 8, 9 level, if you track the VIX index, for the longest time. It's got to be about a year, and we knew that there was extreme levels, that bullishness was way, way too high, and at some point that, there's going to be some trigger of some kind, whether it's an electronic accident or a real one in this case, or perhaps some news, and the market was about to come down. So if you're long-term in the market, and you're a believer that the Dow could go to 30, 40, 50, 60,000 in the next 5 or 10 years, and you're willing to take the kind of risk and the volatility, then of course you just stick with it. We don't pay we pay more attention than that. In fact, we try to time the market here a little bit. Market timing is sort of one of my specialties. No one's perfect at it. At the moment, I think I'm number 1 or number 2 in the national ratings, believe it or not, and maybe you should believe that since I've been on those ratings in the past, but I've only been doing this about 40 years. In any event, Time for Digest magazine just came out this week, and I think I'm in the number 1 slot as the number 1 U.S. market timer. I was in number 2 slot last week. I think I just moved up a little bit. I'll correct myself if that's the case next week. And, just watching the action here in the market. And I'm in agreement with what we heard earlier, from Henry, this March-April period, maybe even stretching to May, could see more volatility. We all joke about the Ides of March, mid-March. We had Bill Koenig on the show last week, talking about Eye to Eye, his book, and a lot of his political comments. He's, of course, a White House correspondent, but he has, a lot of historical and cyclical insights that are very important. And he pointed out that in mid-April, historically, there could be, that's a time where a lot of negative things have happened, where wars have started and so forth. I think it was on that April 19th, 20th date he referred to. So whether it's the Ides of March, mid-March, or stretching to April, you're in this time frame where, there could be some further surprises, and the market, yes, could go lower than it went here in the last couple, 3 weeks, or we could just be in this wild trading range here until we clear this quote-unquote cyclical negative period that we're in. So after that, I presume we could still go higher. I'm more in the bull camp, but as a technician, like I say, short term, I'm on this sell signal here, waiting for some confirmation of a bottom, and that's a function of, the volatility aspects of it, sentiment, volume patterns. Do we hold certain support or resistance levels along the way? And, I can't predict the news out there, but you got to pay attention to cycles as well as the short-term technical action that's occurring. Sinclair, couldn't join us today, and I apologize for that. We usually have a little Banks Behaving Badly segment covering a lot of the work that he does in this area. I did notice this week that the U.S. FDIC did sue 16 banks alleging LIBOR manipulation in the Doral collapse. This is out from Reuters. Of course, we know that we have bad banks out there, Wells Fargo being probably the preeminent name in that category. But according to the news story from Reuters, U.S. regulators Tuesday filed a lawsuit against 16 U.S. and international banks alleging they had manipulated the LIBOR. Now, we know this is an old story, and, we talk about markets being rigged for decades. That's, at least I have, and it's no surprise that we find out that they were manipulating several years ago the LIBOR index. So the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation brought a suit in its capacity as receiver for the Doral Bank, alleging that the rate rigging harmed Doral by causing substantial losses with regard to his loan portfolio. So that was another one that happened this week. And then also, according to Keefe, Brunette, and Woods, big banks have been fined a total of $243 billion for bad behavior, of course, since the financial crisis. Of course, nobody goes to jail, and basically the regulators seem to overlook it. Bank of America leads the tally with $76 billion in fines. J.P. Morgan Chase has been fined nearly $44 billion since the financial crisis. A number of the big banks have been fined over $10 billion, including Citi, Deutsche Bank, and of course our favorite Wells Fargo, which seems to, according to all the commentary I've read, has probably done more harm than good than any other bank, probably more in putting them all together. So 13 banks make up 93% of the total, and the banks don't always pay in cash. Sometimes it's credit for things like loan modification or providing financing for affordable housing, and even the $43 billion in fines over the last 10 years or so. The big banks, they're bigger than ever. So it's really amazing, folks. We talk about this every week with Sinclair, just the nature of the beast here. Banks are impervious. So you and I do this stuff. We get locked up. They just get their hand slapped. So don't touch your dial. We have our good friend Jeffrey Friedland going to be joining us here after the break. We're going to talk a little bit about the cannabis sector, one of my favorite market sectors. So don't touch your dial.
You are listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
Every industry faces distinguishing challenges and circumstances that shape the business and financial landscape. Camuso CPA LLC delivers unrivaled depth of knowledge and an engaging experience relevant to each client's industry-specific needs. Camuso offers preemptive guidance and knowledge required to achieve your greatest business and personal financial potential. Our approach is based on forging long-term business relationships accompanied by trust and value, creating an ever-important partnership. Build your dedicated financial team with us today. Visit CamusoCPA.com. That's CamusoCPA.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, February 24th. Really appreciate you tuning in, and my apologies for Sinclair No, who couldn't make it this week on our previous segment. But we also, of course, want to thank Don VIALOUX and Henry Weingarten for joining us early in the program. Very special guest online with us now. We've had Jeffrey Friedland on the show many times. He's a emerging market pioneer. His firm, Friedland Global Capital, was one of the first American investment banks to establish a presence in China and is now on the front lines in the cannabis industry. Most notably, his book, Marijuana, the Most Misunderstood Plant, has really created some notoriety for Jeff. He's traveling around the country making a lot of presentations, even out of the country. He's CEO of Intiva Biopharma, which is ticker symbol NTVA, which I must disclose I also own, which is researching and developing cannabinoid-based drugs for various medical disorders and conditions. Jeff, thank you so much for taking a few moments with us on this Saturday morning.
It's great to be back with you here today.
Okay, great, Jeff. You know, it's so many stories going on out there. We have that potential delay in Canada on the beginning of the recreational start date. It was supposed to be July. Now they're talking perhaps a month or two later. That was a story this week. If we have time, we'll talk about that. But the real big story is GW Pharmaceutical, which is really something that you really specialize in, because I know you're looking toward FDA approval for cannabinoid-based drugs. And then when you see a failure like this on a test of a particular product they're working on, it becomes very disappointing, because we all hope that the cannabinoids do provide real help and benefit for people, and we don't want to see these studies fail. So what's your thoughts about what happened this week?
Well, okay, let me just give you the bottom line. By the way, I was in Toronto 2 nights ago. I live in Colorado, as you know, Mark. I mean, and the bottom line is I don't think adult use will be there till this fall. So I think it's, in reality, I think you're looking September to October, talking to folks up there this week. But anyway, on to GW. The bottom line is, early trading, yesterday, was off $200 million of market value on GW. Mm-hmm. This morning, I just looked before I came on the air with you. We're off about 1.5%. I'm incredibly bullish on GW. I bought the stock. I own the long-term options on it, leaps. I bought it at 118, saw it go down to 102, saw it go up to the 130s. I'm hanging in there. What happened was they announced preliminary results of a phase 2A clinical study, FDA study, for their compound that is based on CBDV. CBDV, it's one of the over 111 cannabinoids that we know about from the cannabis plant for a type of focal seizures. 40% of the people benefited, but the weird thing, Mark, was that they almost had the same kind of results from placebo tests. And this is not so unusual these days, as a lot of pharma development companies are finding that the placebo sort of controls weird things are happening with it. But they're going to try the same compound for some other disorders. I'm not freaked out about it. I think it's a hell of a buying opportunity for GW on the shares. The big thing about GW is we always have to look at the 32,000-foot view, and we have to look at the big picture. And the reality is that their drug, Epidiolex, which is a plant-derived, very important words, plant-derived, CBD, is very close to getting FDA approval. If everything goes well, there's a few procedural things, including the rescheduling by the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, of Epidiolex, so it can be sold in, like at Walgreens. It could be on the market by the end of the year. Now, I'm going to say when. People say if. I say when the FDA, Mark, approves Epidiolex, it'll be the first time that the U.S. government has recognized any medical benefit from any derivative of this plant. Keep in mind, plant-derived CBD. So I'm really incredibly bullish about it. This GW is the 800-pound gorilla of the cannabinoid pharmaceutical development space globally. London-based company, NASDAQ stock. It should be in everybody's portfolio who at least believes in the future of cannabinoid-based medicine. What more can I say?
Well, Jeff, let me ask you a question. What could go wrong? There's no guarantee Epidiolex will be approved. Is there a chance that it could not be, and then the stock collapses, or are we just betting that the FDA is going to go along with the research we've seen to date? I mean, it seems like anything is possible.
There's two things. Most pharma, forget about cannabinoids, Mark. Most pharmaceutical research fails. And this particular compound, the CBDV, that the companies, what GW said was, quote, study did not meet its primary endpoint. They're going to go back and try that compound for some other disorders. So there's just too much anecdotal evidence out there, especially in the areas where GW is focusing, to indicate that there's no value from the plant, but we need real science. So, yes, it's possible that the FDA does not approve Epidiolex. I think that's very, very, very unlikely. But absolutely, it could happen. I think it's a done deal personally. That's just my conclusion on it.
What other drugs, to your knowledge, do they have in the pipeline besides Epidiolex that could really help?
Well, they have Sativex. Sativex is for multiple sclerosis. They abandoned some early trials in the U.S. Didn't have great results, but it did get approved in Europe. And then the other thing that's interesting, they are coming back with Sativex in the U.S. market. So this is not a one-horse show or whatever the expression is. They've got other drug candidates. And the other thing with Epidiolex, which, they've gone through the safety and efficacy, phase 1 and phase 2 successfully, they're now going to go in, and they've indicated this, and besides, Dravet syndrome, and there's one other condition that they're going ahead, that they're seeking FDA approval on, they're going to go back in with that compound. Lennox-Gastaut syndrome is the other one. They're going to go back in and say, we've gone through phase 1, phase 2, we've proven safety, some efficacy. We're now going to go in, and they've already done that. They've started work with the same Epidiolex for other conditions. So the GW, I think, is a very big deal, Mark.
Well, it also sets a precedent for everyone else who's trying to do work, particularly the Israeli technology in the cannabinoid area, and that gives us a lead into my final question for you. Let's talk a little bit about what Intiva Biopharma is doing, because this is essentially what GW is doing on a smaller scale, correct?
Yeah, we are a public company. We completed a reverse merger, obviously, Mark, as you know. You're an investor. A lot of our friends are investors. There's minimal float right now. We expect to have a registration statement cleared in the not-too-distant future with the SEC, at which point we'll have a real float and hopefully develop a real market. We've identified, and you can find the public information on this out there, 6 medical conditions and disorders that we're seeking to go after for cannabinoid-based medicine. We are 100% federally compliant. We were before Jeff Sessions' action on January 4th. We continue to be federally compliant now after Sessions' action. In the United States, we're working with synthetic cannabinoids, synthetic CBD, synthetic THC. We have an allocation on those from the DEA, from the Drug Enforcement Administration, through a Schedule I lab. Trials are underway. We do intend to seek some of our other medical conditions and disorders using solutions utilizing plant-derived cannabinoids. It's likely that we'll start some of those trials in Israel. We've indicated that publicly. We're excited about it. There's just too much anecdotal evidence out there, Mark, regarding the use of cannabinoids. I'm not going to tell you we're going to hit 6 out of 6, but we feel very good.
Thank you for joining us. Jeffrey Friedland. More information, go to Friedland Capital, jeffreyfriedlandcapital.com. Thank you, Jeff. We'll have you back next week.
Recognized market time and previous Wall Street Week Alf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.